Welcome to the basic installation video for Macro Express. First, let's start out by downloading Macro Express by going to Internet Explorer. So what we want to do is go to the address bar and type in http://www.macros.com/download and press the enter key. This will forward you to the download page. Let's go ahead and scroll down the downloads page to where we can find the current version in executable format or zip format. I recommend using the executable or exe format as you don't have to extract it anywhere on your hard drive. You can simply download it and run it from there. Let's go ahead and click on the first one from server 1, or we can select the second one from server 2. From here you can either open the file, which means it will open it from the location after it's downloaded, or you can save the file to your hard drive. I recommend saving it so that in case you need to reinstall Macro Express you can do so easily. It's going to ask us where we want to save this file at. If you want to change this, you just simply click on this and you can select desktop or my computer or C drive. I'm going to leave it at desktop and the file name at Macro Express 3. Once we've selected the options, let's go ahead and hit save. It'll start downloading the file. Please allow a few minutes for the file to download, as it might take a little while depending on your internet connection speed. You may or may not see this screen depending on if you've selected this box or not. If you haven't, you will see it. If you have, then it'll just close the window out. Let's go ahead and press close, and I'm going to go ahead and minimize my Macro Express download page. From here I'm going to go ahead and start the file installation by double-clicking on Macro Express 3 located on my desktop. Of course, that's abbreviated. On this welcome screen, it suggests that you turn off any screensavers and close all applications that are currently open. I would do so because it might interfere with Macro Express 3 installing correctly. Let's go ahead and press Next. Our next screen is the End User License Agreement. You can scroll through this if you'd like, and then hit I agree or I disagree. If you want to continue the installation, make sure you have I agree selected and press Next. Our next window is the installation type. This asks if you want to do a default installation or a custom installation. Let's go ahead and go with a custom installation so we can decide more what we want to do with the application as it's installing. Go ahead and click Next. Here we have some options. We can either install the editor, help, quick start guide, or the icons. Let me explain what each one does. Installing the editor will allow you to edit macro files. Our next options is the help document and the quick start guide. The quick start guide will give you a rundown of how the application works. Finally, we have the option to install icons. The icons allow us to change menus so that there are different icons displaying in our system toolbar when we create menus for Macro Express. If you decided you wanted an older version installed rather than the newer version, you can select this option, as it will remove and overwrite any existing files. Let's go ahead and uncheck this and press Next. Our next option will tell us if we've installed Macro Express 3 before or not. If you know, simply click Yes if you have previously installed it. If you have never installed Macro Express, click No. This is the first time I've installed Macro Express 3, so usually I'd click No. However, in this video I'm going to show you what Macro Express does to locate the file, so go ahead and hit Yes and click Next. It will give you a screen that says it's searching for Macro Express 3 and then return whether it found it or not. In my case, the program told me that a previous version of Macro Express was not found on the computer. Let's go ahead and hit Next. Macro Express also allows us to choose a destination folder. This is where the program will install by default, is in C drive Program Files Macro Express 3. If you want to customize this, simply click Browse, and then you can specify a different path. For example, if we wanted to install this under a folder called Insight under Program Files, we'd do the following. Go up to the destination path and type in Insight / Macro Express 3, and then press OK. Now if you notice, the destination folder has changed to C drive Program Files Insight Macro Express 3. Let's go ahead and press Next. Macro Express now gives us the option of typing in a Start menu folder or leaving it at the default at Macro Express. If we have one that's already created, we can then select that option by clicking on it. Say, for example, if I want to install this under Utilities, I would type utilities / macro express. This will create a subdirectory under the Utilities directory under my Start menu. Let's go ahead and press Next. If you want Macro Express 3 to run every time you start Windows, select Yes. Otherwise, if you don't, select No. I'm going to go ahead and select Yes and press Next. The installation now informs me that it's ready to install Macro Express 3. Let's go ahead and press Next again. This will start copying all the files and creating the registry files on your computer. If all the files installed correctly, the installation should tell you that Macro Express 3 installed successfully. From here we have two options. We can either launch Macro Express 3 now, or we can view the Quick Start Guide now. Let's go ahead and do both by leaving them both checkmarked and press Finish. When loading Macro Express 3, you'll see the Macro Express splash screen, and then you will see the Quick Start Guide. If you selected the option for Macro Express 3 to run the Quick Start Guide on startup, you should see a window similar to this. If you scroll through it, it will give you various information about the application as well as running it. If you're an existing user to Macro Express, chances are you've already read this. You can stop this window by starting up by clicking on the Do Not Show button and then clicking Close. Let's go ahead and close the Macro Explorer for now, as we will discuss it in further chapters. So what files actually installed on my computer? Well, let's go ahead and go into my computer. As you may recall, when I was installing the application, I selected a different path than what was the default path. Let's go ahead and go into C Drive Program Files, and I installed it under Insight. If you leave it the default, it will install under Macro Express. Let's go ahead and open the Insight folder where I installed it, and then Macro Express 3. The majority of the installation of files installs under this location. To find out what each file does and where other files were located, please refer to the book. Let's go ahead and close the Macro Express window out. One other window that you may come across is the File Association Notification window. This will probably only start the first time that you install Macro Express. So what is this window asking? It's asking if you want to link the .mex file and the .mxe files to Macro Express to ensure the full functionality of Macro Express application. Let's go ahead and select Don't Ask Me This again and select Yes.